should we really expect much from journalists? Like, should we? They don't understand tech. They're not even competent enough to play the video games they're reviewing. And even when Trump is out of office, they still have to talk about him in their reviews. But what do you expect? Gaming has gone mainstream. Most of the people that are in their goddamn 50s that were calling this shit satanic and violent and trying to get it banned or censored are now playing things like Candy Crush on their phones. Or the simpleton who does nothing but play Call of Duty and eats Doritos and drinks Mountain Dew can become a gaming journalist. Hell, you could take the most bland, talentless, unappealing people like this dumbass who tried doing the PC build for The Verge, having no clue what he was doing. He can be passed off as a tech reviewer. That's the state of journalism in the industry right now. Gaming's become so huge, the demographics have also increased alongside it. So now everybody wants a piece of the pie. Everybody wants to be streamers, everybody wants to be tech reviewers, but hardly any of them actually give a fuck about video games. And since any cocksucker out there can write an article and become a journalist overnight, you have an ocean of just shitty articles out there. People complaining about things they don't understand. And so luckily I was blessed, and when I say blessed, I mean blessed in the sense that God gave me the ability to withstand so much pain. I was blessed with this article that was recommended to me from a few subscribers. The PS5 is making me hate PC gaming. Can we just get a round of applause, everybody? Oh, thank God, finally it's paying off. Finally, the filthy console peasants can get the fuck off the PC so that the GPUs are available for people out there that actually like PC gaming. There's too many plebs out there that are being recommended PC gaming to people who have barely been in gaming for what, maybe a year? So those dumb fucks come over here, and they're the cause of all the streamlining going on. PC games are having to be streamlined for the console demographics. Graphical options are starting to be a lot more limited and streamlined, and there's too many people out there trying to buy PC components, and then they end up hating it. So as long as they come and they hate it and they leave, that's a win for me. Less people on the PC is exactly what we need right now. Look at these inflated GPU prices. We don't want the goddamn casuals here. His opinion is that he wants to just enjoy new games again. I'm guessing he can't do that on his PC for some reason, and we'll find out why.
When the next generation of ray tracing graphics cards was announced, we only had some demo footage and some pretty baseless graphs to show what performance to expect. Since these GPUs have hit the market, we've seen games such as Cyberpunk 2077, Watch Dogs Legion, and the Medium released, giving us the opportunity to test this groundbreaking computer hardware for ourselves, and each time, be it down to overly demanding software or lack of optimization for PC, I'm left disappointed.
Well, for starters, I don't know where his disappointment is, because unlike the Xbox Series X and the PS5, the 3090 and the 3080 are actually doing native 4K. There's no upscaling bullshittery going on here. They are achieving 4K, and they're not just using a substituted version of ray tracing. They're using actual ray tracing and every single form of it, whether that be ray traced shadows, ray traced reflections, or ray traced lighting. The next gen consoles will put on the box that they're using ray tracing, but they'll never tell you what form they're using. For instance, Call of Duty uses ray traced shadows, which are the least taxing. But as long as it says ray tracing on the box, you'll be convinced that what you are getting is the high-end PC equivalent. It's not. On top of that, you're bringing up the 3 most poorly optimized games to come out. These are games that don't run good on all platforms. But as of this moment, the PC is the only version that's using ray tracing for Cyberpunk and a native 4K. Same with Watch Dogs Legion. It's actually using full ray tracing and being able to do native 4K. And the Medium is just probably one of the most poorly optimized games I have ever seen in my life. Those 3 titles that you mentioned, while being one of the poorest examples to use for performance and visuals, they're also the best examples because only the high-end hardware can actually manage the native 4K, the full ray tracing, and not have to reduce the graphical fidelity like the next gen consoles are doing by having lower than the lowest available assets on PC.
Before the games were even released, we were seeing some fairly alarming system requirements to play the latest AAA titles. It was reported this week by DSOG that the Medium couldn't run at a consistent 60 FPS on PC, equipped with an Intel i9 900K and an RTX 3080, even on standard 1080p quality and ray tracing switched off. And Optimization issues faced by the medium are hardly unique.
No doubt the Medium is one of the most poorly optimized games to come out. Hell, the reason they call it the Medium is because those are the settings you have to run it at. But if I'm correct, isn't the Series X locked to 900p up to 4K dynamic resolution and at 30 FPS? From what I'm seeing on benchmarks, people are able to run it at 1080p with ray tracing at 60 FPS. Are there dips? Yes, there are dips, but the game suffers massively from frame pacing issues. But again, only on the PC can you actually run it at 60 FPS and above, further proving this hardware is good at brute forcing even through poorly optimized software. Hell, the PC is the only one giving you the option to even disable ray tracing, and you don't even need a high-end GPU for that.
Sure, I could go back and play some great older games, but brand new releases that were supposed to show off the raw power of the latest hardware have fallen a tad flat for me. They're hardly knocked it out of the park on consoles either, but the Sony exclusive titles don't suffer from the issues faced by multi-platform games.
Yes, everybody knows exclusives are usually very well optimized, aside from the Medium, because they focus solely on utilizing the hardware at hand. So what's the next goal then? Only play exclusives? Achieving the graphical fidelity and performance you'll get out of an exclusive is not a representation of what you will get with all multi-plats.
I found myself over the last few years looking over the unsatisfactory performance and reviews, questioning what the point is of having the most powerful graphics card and CPUs on the market if the games struggle to run. The hardware should last gamers several years without requiring an upgrade, and yet they already feel outdated when trying to play games on release. Have the game developers stretched too far? Or are expectations too high? It's honestly hard to say at this point.
Well, you still have PC gamers using goddamn 1070s, 1080s, and even 980s. So yeah, the hardware will last them quite a while. Nvidia literally had to try their best to kill the success of the 10 series. A GPU like the 3060, the 3070, and the 3080 are probably going to last the entire generation. And as games get better optimized for consoles, do you also think they're not going to get better optimized for PCs as well? Do you think that 3060 Ti, 3070, and 3080 will not be able to run games in a few years from now? Because they absolutely will. Will they be able to run them at their best? Probably not, because games get more demanding over time. But a lot of these GPUs will still run games better than the current consoles do in a few years from now.
PC gaming sometimes feels like a constant uphill battle to evolve and accommodate the very latest in computing technology. Combining a love for tech tinkering with a gaming hobby for many, you need to put consistent effort, money, or both into being a PC gamer. Because a large reason people might choose a computer over a console is the ability to experience games in the highest achievable quality. PC gamers joke about having superiority complex for this very reason.
You're a fucking idiot.
Those who consistently upgrade do it because they choose to do it. If they have the money, they'll do it if they want. But you can look at me, alright? My PC build is 2 years old, it's got a 2060 in it, and I'm still keeping up with the consoles. I mean, if I had the upscaling tech they did, I could imagine my performance would be even better, seeing how good it is with DLSS. Further proving that it doesn't take the best hardware out there to enjoy gaming. If you can enjoy gaming on a console without having the best visuals and the best performance, then you can also build a PC that would accommodate that for you. High-end is for those that want it, but it's not a hobby that requires you to constantly put money into it and constantly tinker with it. I have not even opened my PC since I built it. This gaming journalist doesn't seem to understand that the best parts of PC gaming are not just the graphics and performance and high-end hardware. Nor do I think it's the main reason people even play on PC, as the most popular GPUs out there will show. The point of PC gaming is to have a library that never goes away, one that doesn't require you to keep your old PC to play your back catalog of games, or a platform that has the options for you to use every input device you want. Or the most simple reason people come to the PC. The fucking games. No, seriously, this one always seems to fly above every tech reviewer and every journalist's head. There are a lot of games on the PC, and a lot of those aren't on consoles, or are no longer supported on console. And amongst those games, some of them are Xbox games, PlayStation games, and plus all the emulators you have. To get just into PC gaming for the high-end hardware, and never take advantage of the vast library and the amount of services provided on the PC would be pretty idiotic, and kind of a waste of that hardware in general.
And yet, PS5 owners can currently experience better game optimization and subtitles and haptic feedback in the DualSense controller for significantly less than a comparable gaming computer would cost you to buy or build. I can sense my own inflated ego for building and playing PCs withering away when I try to work out how much effort and cash I'm putting into my gaming hobby versus how much fun I'm actually getting out of it with these new games.
Well, first off, you shouldn't develop a ego around hardware or software, because that's a good way of never getting your dick wet, for fuck's sake. And did you just seriously say PS5 owners will experience 4K quality and better optimization? Sure, they may experience that in some exclusives, but as of now, the list of native 4K games on the PS5 is dwarfed compared next to the games that are actually native 4K on PC, because they can all run native 4K on PC. I'm sorry I'm not impressed by haptic feedback. I'm pretty sure people would rather have a large library of games dating back 20 years to now over a controller that can shake in your hand. Look, I'm sorry that you got caught in the rabbit hole of investing so much into your PC and not enjoying it. It turns out the hobby isn't for you because you never understood it to begin with.
One of the biggest reasons I and many others will also be buying a PS5 is because of the Sony exclusive titles. These games consistently rank in best of lists, and despite also playing games that are restricted to PC, such as World of Warcraft or Dota 2, I prefer the PlayStation-only titles. Sure, they sometimes eventually make their way to Steam or Epic, but that's years down the line, and after some pretty heavy optimization.
Well, no shit, you're going to buy a PS5 for the exclusives. But just because some games on the PC don't make it to the best of list does not mean you're not going to enjoy them more. Games like Half-Life Alyx, Crusader Kings, Total War. What it seems like to me is you're far more into the casual side of gaming, which is exactly what a console will do. What I don't understand is how you were so invested into PC gaming and yet you can't name a single title. When the PS5 showcase announced Horizon Forbidden West, Demon's Souls, and God of War Ragnarok, I excitedly noted them as titles to look forward to playing when I could eventually buy the console myself. Now that the first few months of the Nvidia Ampere and AMD Big Navi hardware have passed, I'm left feeling disappointed and envious of my console playing peers. So, how about this? You can just, get a PS5 when it's available, like you said you would. I also don't see what's the point of being envious about something that isn't even out yet. Like, they can't play those games at this moment, aside from Demon's Souls.
Gaming on a console is effortless. You don't need to worry about overclocking or changing your cooling system or CPU. Your controller comes in the box, so there's no need to research the best mice options or key switches to improve your performance. The entire system is provided for you for an arguably affordable price and only needs to be updated every 5 to 7 years. Comparatively, PC gaming feels almost exhausting and financially depressing.
Do you see why I don't want these people on the PC now? I'm actually glad you want to get a PS5 instead. Please, sell your PC and never come back. You're the problem with PC gaming. Too many goddamn casuals came here, they bought up every GPU, they got the game streamlined as fuck, only for them to then want to go back to console. What the fuck is this about worrying about overclocking or changing a cooling system? Why the fuck would you need to do that? Again, I haven't opened my PC in 2 goddamn years after I built it. Runs like a dream. Haven't had to tinker with it. I'm satisfied with my performance. Yeah, the controller comes in a box, but you can just go fucking buy a controller. Or hell, even use the one you already use for your Xbox or PS4. You don't have to even research the best mice options or key switches. What the fuck is this about? Journalists and peasants constantly have to make the PC look more complicated than it actually is because their pea-sized brains can't comprehend it. Mice options and key switches. What, do you go around looking for the best PS5 controller? The best PS5 power cable? See those extra steps I'm adding to the PS5? Those are basically the extra steps you're adding to the PC. You chose to make it a more expensive hobby than it needed to be, and you overcomplicated things for yourself when you didn't need to. If you're content with a casual experience on the console, then aim for that on the PC. But honestly, in my opinion, you should probably just stay away and never touch it, ever again. And yes, I'm being an elitist prick about it, because there's way too many people like this on the platform right now.